there various levels or tiers to data privacy that healthcare workers should be aware of when handling patient health information? And this can go to anyone, whoever wants to answer.
Yes, there are. To my knowledge, right now, it's let me put it this: it is a little bit of a primitive one where we say, okay, if it is a PII, hold on to this. If it is a patient information in terms of the medical records and kind of thing, then you have a different pattern of compliance to be in place. So I think to your question on basically it boils down to what practices are in place, what frameworks are being practiced besides the medical records security aspect. It is critical that data has to be treated not in terms of, when it comes to patient, I see that I have PII information in it. I have, the HIPAA stuff into it. So how do I manage and differentiate? So that means you need to put a clear governance and guardrails of what are the classifications of data. How do I qualify and quantify data saying that it is class A, class B, class C, class D? Define those classes, make sure that everybody understands that those classifications, and accordingly data is saved, making sure at the same time data is not like if I'm putting my laptop and burying it 10 feet deep in a pit is not secure. It's useless for me or for anyone. So I should make it as hard as possible for somebody to access the data. How do I do that? There are various mechanisms in place. As we talked earlier, we said data at rest, encrypted. And if I go back to the state of California, a few years back, they passed a law. It's something called CCPA compliance. Primarily, it means that nobody can share my private data without my permission. Even if I apply for a credit card or something, they hold my social security and other information. But they have no right to sell now or even share it with anyone tomorrow because they need to have my permission. So this is where we introduce something called obfuscation. And by introducing obfuscation, I see the same patterns that can be applied even for medical data. I want to make sure that the whole point I'm trying to make here is that make the medical data as meaningless as possible for a hacker. If I can achieve that, all my problems are solved mostly.
Yeah, let me take this. What do you mean? Let me take this idea of the let's make it meaningless for the hacker. I agree with you. One of the things is if, let's say, if I show you an X-ray which you cannot attribute to any patient, it's no longer of interest for a hacker, right? It's still of interest for a researcher, but not for a hacker. So there's a fine line of how can we make it so that the data is now safe, as in not attractive for hackers. At the same time, it's still useful for research. And there are interesting, if we go back to the details on each particular modality or each particular format, there are different issues there. But overall, that's a very sound approach, because that way we can make it not as attractive for being stolen. Right? Because then it can be actually shared for medical research, and at the same time not be valuable for going back to that example of black market.